You know, I'm pretty sure if we did have a king in this country, I'd have been beheaded a long time ago. I'd have been guillotined, whipped ya. The fact that I'm still walking around with a head on my shoulders that's fully connected proves without a shadow of a doubt, there is no king in the United States of America. What's up? This is Mark K. Saves the Republic. Thank you so much for, oh wait, I was a little premature with the Mark K. Saves the Republic. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you had a fantastic weekend, man. I'll be honest with you. I had a very interesting weekend myself, and I'll get to that here in just a minute. I opted out of the No Kings celebration. I was going to go, but then I didn't go. And then, man, was I glad that I didn't go, because it would have been a big waste of my time. I would have had to, there was here in Jacksonville, where, because Mar-a-Lago is situated in luxurious downtown Jacksonville, home of K-Trade HQ. And here in Mar-a-Lago, I decided, the day just kind of got away from me, and I was like, all right, I could go downtown. I could check out the No Kings rally. I imagine it's not going to be all that fantastic. And boy, was I right. I would have had to incite some violence of my own just to get some good footage. So I'm glad that I didn't. I had much more productive day with my daughter, and we got a lot of work done. I got some great stuff done online, and I'll be honest with you, I'm a little disappointed in the Democrats. Here's how you know that the No Kings rally was really bad for the Democrats. And this is something they've been holding out for this rally forever. They wanted to, the government now is on day 20 of the government shutdown. People have not been getting paychecks. Military personnel have not been getting their paychecks. There have been several votes, I think 10 total. There's another one coming up later today. And later today, it looks like probably we won't get the government opened up again, because the Democrats still, I believe the Democrats are still trying to shut the government down. Although, who knows? Maybe today's the day. Maybe the failure of the No Kings protest will mean that the government gets to open back up. Because, well, look, it was so bad. It was so bad, the turnout at the No Kings protest, that MSNBC had to lie about how many people actually attended. They had to show old footage from several years ago. They had to show footage that was 7 years old and lie about it so that they could make the No Kings protest seem a little bit more effective than it was. Here's what MSNBC reported with the footage they showed of what seems like a large crowd of people.
Look at this. Millions of people across the country marching as we speak against the policies of President Trump. This is Boston. Look at that. We'll continue to follow these rallies throughout the day here on MSNBC.
Yeah, so this is Boston, that's correct. But as you can tell, there's a lot of, look at the trees, okay? The trees are very green and lush. There's no fall foliage. And I don't know if you're familiar with the Boston area, but I am, because my son goes to school up there. And in October in Boston, there's a lot of brightly colored leaves. If there's any left at all, they're orange and they're green and all kinds of stuff. The leaves here have not changed color. This is Boston, not in October of 2025, but in August of 2017. In fact, look, this is a photo my son sent me of New England just this morning. So this is what it looks like nowadays in New England. That is not what it looks like. That's not what it looks like there. So clearly MSNBC, and then, with AI and everything, we can check that out. But basically what happened was, you have the Democrats so upset with their own rally. They're so upset that the majority of their fear-mongering paid protesters did not want to appear or take the day or go protest or do any of these things, that they had to lie about it. And you can't really blame them. The scenes of the No Kings protesters who came out, it really was just like, old people with signs is a good way to put it. They emptied out the nursing homes and they handed these people signs. You couldn't find somebody under the age of 60 at any of these, really probably 70 at many of these rallies, but it was kind of sad and really pathetic. Oh, but there was music. And you know how I love a good protest song. This song, I believe, is called No Kings. No kings, no kings, no kings in America. Did not follow immigration laws. Don't hate our neighbors. We don't join a cult. We don't join the Klan. Sorry.
We don't worship a man with a bad orange tan.
No.
No kings. No kings. No kings. No kings. We don't have a king. We don't have a king. Let me think of another word.
Yeah.
You know, something tells me, I don't know. I could just be, I don't know. I don't, something tells me he made that up on the spot. Something tells me that was impromptu, ad-libbed. You know, also what's with whenever there's a recorder in the background, you know that these people aren't serious. As soon as you hear the recorder, you know to just head the other way. But that was the No Kings. I guess that was the No Kings theme song is what it was.
No king, no king, no king in America.
No King. America. If you think that's sad and pathetic, you're right. If you think that was sad and pathetic, you are right. If you think that MSNBC lying about the number of people that turned out for the No Kings rally in Boston is pathetic, you're right. If you think that guy who apparently says there's no kings and evidently no vegetables in his diet either, you're right. That's sad and pathetic. Probably nothing is as sad and pathetic, though, as Cory Filibuster Booker. Cory, I spoke for 25 hours and nobody knows what about Booker. Cory Booker was in, I think it was New York or New Jersey, it was one of those places. And he tried to get a group of people to chant one of the left's favorite chants. And it was so sad how few people were there. But he was, you know what? He was so proud of himself for doing it.
This is what democracy looks like. 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 Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Okay. So democracy. This is what democracy looks like. Democracy looks like an old bald dude and like 50 people who he just stopped. It looks like these people weren't part of the protest. Some of them have signs, but some of them, it looks like they were just walking by and he just told them to stop and yell. But it's maybe 50. Maybe a total of 50. And this is a United States Senator, okay? This is one of 100 individuals who has been elected to the Senate, who is keeping the government shut down. And he's at a protest rally where apparently there's millions and millions of people, according to MSNBC. And he can get like 50 people to yell, this is what democracy looks like. Also, fun fact, it's a republic. But probably, you know what, the saddest part of this was, I don't know if it was sad or not. I don't know if it was sad or exactly what the doctor ordered. It was Chuck Schumer. Chuck Schumer, the architect of the Schumer shutdown. Chuck Schumer, who is keeping the government shut down in an effort to save his own political life. Chuck Schumer, who's been in New York City, or who's been representing New York probably longer than it's been a state. I think Chuck Schumer's been in New York so long that when he started, it was just called York. Thank you. He used to be the senator from New York. Now he's a senator from New York. That's how long he's been there. But probably the saddest, this was probably the saddest one, was Chuck Schumer stopping to pose with some Dominicans in New York. And then, well, I'll just play it for you.
Hey, Chuck, you know Dominicans actually hate your guts, right? Because you're a scumbag. You know that, right?
I mean, I feel bad for laughing at. I really do feel bad for laughing at this, but also I don't. It's one of those weird things. Because here's an old guy, right? This guy is 70. What do we say? He is 75? No, 70. He's 74. Okay. Chuck Schumer is 74 years old. He's wearing a seersucker shirt in October. For some reason, he decides he's going to put on his best seersucker shirt with his eyeglasses. He's got that old man hunchback thing going on that, you know, all old dudes get eventually. Not all of them, but some of them they start to hunch. So he's got his seersucker shirt on his old hunched back, and he's 4 years old, and he's wandering the streets of New York on No King's Day. And I guess he thinks these guys want to take a selfie with him or whatever, but really they call him a scumbag and a loser.
Hey, Chuck, you know Dominicans actually hate your guts, right? Because you're a scumbag. You know that, right? You ruined New York. You're a loser. You're a loser, buddy. You're a loser.
So, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm torn because it's, you know what, it is so awful for them to treat him that way. But then again, it's so awful for him to treat them that way. So it's one of those things where you look at him, like when you think to yourself, Chuck Schumer is a scumbag loser who ruined New York, and I bet all the Dominicans in New York hate his guts. When you say that, it doesn't sound bad. But when you see it in real life, you're just like, God, that poor miserable old dude. Why does he want to stay in the Senate? Why won't he just open up the government? Why won't he just retire? Why won't he just move on with his life and let, the rest of us live the way we want to live? But, people get obsessed with power. They get obsessed with power. So Cory Booker and Chuck Schumer, the laughing stocks of No King's Day, which also is, as Donald Trump pointed out, is a real, it's a real it's a real misnomer. There is no king in the United States of America. And Donald Trump said, if I were a king, we wouldn't even had a protest. I just work really hard.
I'm not a king. I work my ass off to make our country great. That's all it is.
Yeah, that's all it is. I'm not a king at all. I'm not a king, says President Donald Trump. I'm not a king at all. I just work my butt off. I work my butt off. And so really, it's interesting because what Donald Trump said is there's no king in the United States of America. And that's what Cory Booker and Chuck Schumer and that old fat guy with the guitar were all saying, that there's absolutely no kings in America. So it's really kind of interesting. It's really kind of interesting to see how the similarities and yet the differences between the No King celebration and what's happening in the White House.
No king, no king, no king in America.
Yeah, that's a. I don't know why I love Democrats singing. I don't know. It's just like, it's really one of my favorite things. I don't know why. It's like a fetish I have. Some people, they are into, they're into feet. And that's like a fetish. Some people I know are into they get turned on by people that dress up as like fuzzies or furries or whatever they're called. I don't even, there's like a whole thing. I'm like, you know what it is? For some reason, I just get so entertained by old, angry Democrats singing ridiculous songs at protest rallies. It's really one of my favorite things. It's really one of my favorite things in the entire world. Oh, by the way, not all the Democrats were old and feeble. There were some young, angry ones who wanted to kill people, namely Stephen Miller, Deputy Chief of Staff.
Who are you going to kill?
Nazis.
Who do you define as a Nazi?
What do you mean? It's pretty...
In this context, who's a Nazi?
Stephen Miller's a Nazi.
So you're going to kill Stephen Miller?
If I had the chance, yeah, I would.
I don't know if that's something I'd say on camera, bro.
Yeah. If I had the chance, I would kill Stephen. Who are you going to kill? Nazis. Who are the Nazis? You know, the Nazis. No, give me a name. Stephen Miller. You would kill Stephen Miller? Yeah, if I had the chance. Okay. Hello, Secret Service? Yeah. We got a live one for you. It really is. It really is. So they're either singing or threatening violence. That's really the two extremes now of the American left. You've got the old people who believe that they're still hippies and they're singing ridiculous songs about President Donald Trump, and then you've got the younger generation who's just going straight to murder. It's like murder. It's like either they're murdering songs or they're murdering Republicans. That's basically all. You got the people who are just destroying melodies.
No king, no king, no king in America.
Yeah, though you got those people, and then you've got on the other side the people that are just like trying to execute Donald Trump and the people that work for him.
Who are you gonna kill?
Nazis.
Who do you define as a Nazi?
What do you mean? It's pretty...
In this context, who's a Nazi?
Stephen Miller's a Nazi.
So you're gonna kill Stephen Miller?
If I had the chance, yeah, I would.
I don't know if that's something I'd say on camera, bro.
Also, she called him bro. I don't know who recorded that. She called him bro, and I'll be honest with you, I was a little shocked because I didn't know that it was a bro. I thought maybe it was I couldn't tell. I don't want to assume anyone's gender, but I just assumed. I guess to me at first I thought it was a woman, but maybe it was a man, or maybe it's neither, or maybe it's both. It's one or the other. That's how they keep us guessing. That's what I think transgenderism is. I think it's just when you're transgender and you're on the left like that, I think it's just camouflage. It's like, you never know Just trying to keep them guessing. But speaking of killing Republicans, there was a very, 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 very disturbing image that popped up yesterday in West Palm Beach, Florida, which is very close to Mar-a-Lago. In fact, you got West Palm Beach is where Mar-a-Lago is, and then Mar-a-Lago, we're up closer, to the Georgia border. But in West Palm Beach near Mar-a-Lago, there was there's an airstrip, there's an airport basically. And when Donald Trump flies back and forth, as he does regularly because he has a house in Mar-a-Lago and a golf course in Mar-a-Lago, and he likes to go back and forth to Mar-a-Lago, just like most people like to go back and forth to their home. But when that happens, what Donald Trump does is, the Air Force One plane has to land on a runway and they secure the runway. Well, there's an interstate highway. I believe it's 95. I'm not 100% sure. And then on the other side of that are some woods and some warehouses and things like that. And in the woods near the warehouses, they found, I don't know if you can see it in this photo, up in a tree, they found what is a hunting blind or a hunter's nest. They call it a sniper nest. And you can see it's up in the tree here. It looks like a place where somebody would lie. There's a bunch of cords and cables and whatnot. Somebody did a video of it using Grok, which I have to tell you, Grok is pretty amazing because Grok can now take a photo and it can turn it into an actual live video. Oh, here it is. So this is the Grok video. If you look at it here, you can see somebody did let me play it for you. And to kind of show you what it would look like in the breeze. But there it is. Again, it's in a tree. And there's all these cables and cords, and it's like laying up there, and it's within close proximity. In fact, it's right in the eye line of Air Force One. It's right in the eye line of Air Force One when Air Force One is landed on the tarmac. And so this becomes a huge problem. Suspected sniper post found near Trump's Air Force One in Florida. A suspected sniper's perch with a direct line of sight to Air Force One was found near Palm Beach Airport while Trump was present. The FBI is now investigating. Now, Donald Trump, as a precaution, took the short stairs, the old-fashioned Joe Biden short stairs, up onto Air Force One to keep him, I guess, out of the line of sight of this sniper area. And Dan Bongino is in a unique position here because Dan Bongino, in addition to being a podcaster, is the deputy director of the FBI and also was at one point Secret Service on Barack Obama's detail. So he has insight into FBI investigations and also into Secret Service activity. And he was on Fox and Friends this morning to discuss exactly what was happening with this particular incident.
But here's what happens with this. Let me walk the American public through how this works. The FBI is not responsible, obviously, for the security plan of the president. That's the purview of the Secret Service. However, if the Secret Service finds something that they believe could be criminal, I want to emphasize it could be, we take over. We have what's called an MOU, a Memorandum of Understanding with the Secret Service, where we will investigate after that. I was on the phone yesterday, back and forth with the D2, the Deputy Director over at the Secret Service, Matt Quinn, great guy. They were very concerned. Their security sweep discovered this hunting stand. The director Kash Patel was directly involved right away. I'm on the email chain with him. He ordered an immediate response. I believe we had our plane flown down there. This hunting stand was appropriately dismantled, being flown to our lab. I believe it's there right now. And all of the forensic tools we have, from digital tools to biometric tools, they are all going to be applied to try to find out who put this up there and why.
Mr. Deputy Director, big picture here, the snipers have become a problem. The first assassination attempt against the president, the assassination of Charlie Kirk, the attempted assassination of our ICE officers, that's the new tool now. They're attacking from the top.
Well, I wouldn't say it's a new tool. It's an old tool that may be used more often by folks who realize that there's some tactical advantage to distance and cover. The Secret Service has had to make a lot of modifications, Lawrence, given that this tool was obviously used or attempted to be used multiple times. They've expanded their security perimeter, how they do. I'm very close friends with the director over there and the deputy director, and some of those modifications have been made. And I think you saw the modifications with the discovery of this hunting stand set up in the tree outside of West Palm Beach. But yeah, there's no room. This is a zero-fail mission, Lawrence. No time for a BS here. It's zero fail. You can't have a mistake here. It's just not. I haven't been a Secret Service agent and now an FBI agent and with the NYPD. I can tell you, this is one of those missions where there's no do-overs.
Okay, first of all, Dan Bongino looks really good. I thought he would look aged. You know, like usually somebody goes into government work and they start getting wrinkles and gray hairs and they start looking older than they were before. You're like, man, that guy, government work's killing him. He looks really great. I don't know if he's getting Botox or whatnot, but looking good. Second of all, Lawrence says, you know, these snipers have become a problem. There's a sentence you never thought you would ever hear yourself say in American politics, but he's absolutely right. These snipers have become a real problem, haven't they? Yeah. They have become a problem. One of them took a shot at President Donald Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania. Another one tried to take a shot at President Donald Trump while he was rounding the 6th fairway. One of them killed Charlie Kirk at Utah Valley University. And now another one set up shop in West Palm Beach, right near the airport. You can see in this image here how this is where the sniper blind was like situated, and the airport is across the thorough. There's like a little stream or estuary, or I guess we call it it's really like a, I mean, it kind of looks like a sewer, but whatever. And then the roadway, and then you've got the airport with the plane right there. It's about 1,500 feet, something like that. So if a sniper were going to take a shot at the president from this distance, I imagine they would have to have been very, very highly skilled. But again, look at this. If the interesting thing about this is, if you look at where these trees are, okay, you've got the trees, you've got the sniper, blind or the sniper setup in the tree, and then right to the, I guess if we're looking, let's just assume we're looking north. Right to the north is the airport. Right to the west is a parking lot. And we're talking like right to the west. There's maybe 20 or 30 trees in this little park area, and then a massive parking lot. And then to the south is a parking lot with a large building. And then to the right is another thoroughfare. So this is not a wooded area. There are no animals here. This is not a hunting blind. There's not like deer. They're not spraying deer rut around, you know, trying to snag Bambi's mom. There's only one reason why this would be up there, because it's targeting somebody at the airport. And who's at the airport? President Donald Trump. So yeah, these snipers have become a real problem, Lawrence. And Dan Bongino and Kash Patel are on the lookout. They're trying to figure out exactly what's happening. And as a result, they are going to be investigating entirely. Now, Eric Doherty says the U.S. Secret Service has uncovered a suspicious, reportedly set up months ago. Apparently, this has been around for months. Prior to the president's return to West Palm Beach, United States Secret Service discovered what appeared to be an elevated hunting stand within sightline of the Air Force One landing zone. No individuals were located at the scene. The FBI has since taken the investigatory lead, flying in resources to collect all evidence from the scene and deploying our cell phone analytics capabilities. Now, again, the fact that this was set up months ago and was just found is concerning, but also we're glad that it was finally found and now it is dismantled. And I imagine that security look, again, whenever something like this happens, whenever they find a direct threat to President Donald Trump like this, whenever they find somebody else who's basically hunting the president and there's evidence of it, I imagine they have to step up his security another notch. But how many more notches are there? How many more notches are there? How many more notches are there to protect people like President Donald Trump and J.D. Vance? And I guess Stephen Miller, who's now a target of these left-wing lunatics who believe he's a Nazi and he should be killed. Not to mention President Donald Trump's family members who are scattered all over the globe. I mean, Barron Trump moved back to the West Wing, to the White House rather, which I guess was an important move. And all the while, the Democrats are continuing to push violence. They're continuing with their violent rhetoric. They're continuing to praise people who are violent and not admonish them. Tim Kaine. Let me find this real quick. I was on Newsmax this morning and I totally forgot to pull it. But Tim Kaine, who you may remember ran for president with Hillary Clinton. Tim Kaine was basically on Meet the Press, and he was talking about how there's no issue with what Jay Jones did. There's no problem with Jay Jones. Jay Jones is fine. He's going to continue to support him. It was like a misunderstanding here. Let me pull this up real quick and show it to you. Here's Tim Kaine on Meet the Press yesterday. This is a Democrat senator from Virginia who ran for vice president alongside Hillary Clinton. Listen to this.
You know, Senator, back in 2019, you made a similar argument during that shutdown that Republicans.
That's not it. That's a different That's a different clip. Here it is.
The Democratic candidate for Attorney General, Jay Jones, is facing bipartisan backlash after text messages he sent were publicized. I'm going to let folks know what they said. He effectively said that the top Republican lawmaker in the state should, quote, get 2 bullets to the head. He was asked about that during a debate this past week. Here's how he responded. Look.
I am ashamed. I am embarrassed. And I'm sorry. If you were truly sorry, you would not be running for this office.
Senator, should Jay Jones drop out of this race?
No, he shouldn't, Kristen. Those texts, private texts with a colleague, cannot be defended. They cannot be defended. But Jay Jones has apologized earnestly. The Republicans knew about these texts for years. They waited until the ballot was printed, and they waited until hundreds of thousands of people had already voted beginning on September 19th. The voters will make up their mind about these texts. The voters have to make up their mind in our governor's race. The Republican gubernatorial candidate spoke about pro-choice activists and said, murder is murder and your time will come. The voters have to grapple with that. I've known Jay Jones for 25 years. I think this single text exchange that he had with a colleague was very out of character for him, and that's why I continue to support him.
Oh, I get it. It's very out of, listen, these things are inexcusable. It's undefensible, but I'm going to actually defend it right now. Well, which is it? Is it undefensible or are you going to defend it? These personal private text messages were out of character. Or were they? Here's the thing. That's probably the opposite of the truth. What Jay Jones said on the debate stage, that's probably out of character. The fact that he's apologetic or that he's sorry or that he has some kind of regret, that I would imagine is what's out of character. What he said in his private text message, that's probably in character. Usually what's said in your private text messages, that is something that denotes your true character. For example, okay, my wife texted me. I'm going to read you some personal private text messages so that you can see what I'm talking about here. My wife texted me and said, chicken, romaine lettuce, cucumber, avocado, black olive. Okay, that's lemon. That's just a grocery list. I don't really have anything. That was a bad example. But the fact of the matter is, when you text somebody privately, personally, and you don't think that anyone else is going to see it, that's, I believe, when your true character shows. When you're standing on a debate stage feeling like an idiot because your true feelings got released to the public, and it's a huge problem now for your party, and Democrats and Republicans are calling for you to step down. When that happens, I believe that's not your true character. I believe that the true character is what we saw in the text messages, and everything else is a lie, a fallacy, a facade, a mask, if you will. Because let's be honest, it totally is. And Tim Kaine is like, it's indefensible, but I'm going to defend it. And I stand by Jay Jones. He literally said that he stands by this guy who wants to murder political opposition.
Republican gubernatorial candidate spoke about pro-choice activists and said, murder is murder and your time will come. The voters have to grapple with that. I've known Jay Jones for 25 years. I think this single text exchange that he had with a colleague was very out of character for him, and that's why I continue to support him.
I continue to support him. I think there's another disturbing thing that he says here.
Let me ask you this, Senator, because a lot of people look at this and I think they ask the question, if this were a Republican, would you be calling for him to drop out of the race?
Absolutely not. It's directly equivalent to things that the Republican gubernatorial candidate has publicly said, not in private text. Murder is murder and your time will come. She said that in a public meeting speaking about pro-choice activists. I've not called for her to drop out of the race. The voters began voting in Virginia on September 19th. These are fair items for voters to consider as.
Okay, so you know what? The voters need to decide. That's the thing with Jay Jones. You know what? Jay Jones can say and text and do whatever he wants, but it's up to the voters to decide, which is interesting because you know when it's not up to the voters to decide? When Donald Trump's on the ballot. When Donald Trump is on the ballot, he's got to come off the ballot. Donald Trump cannot be on the ballot. He's a horrible person. What he did on January 6th, when he said peacefully and patriotically, make your voices heard, That we can't have that. Donald Trump is a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad person. He can't be on the ballot. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to sue. And we're going to take him off the ballot in various states because the voters in Virginia with the attorney general's race, the voters, it's up to the voters to decide. But not when Donald Trump's running for president. Then it's up to us, the Democrats, to stop him any way we can. Any way we can. We are going to stop President Donald Trump because it's not up to the voters. The voters, they don't know what they're talking about. If the voters pick Donald Trump, we are screwed as a party. So we're not going to let that happen. We are going to try to get him off the ballot. We're going to try to have him arrested. We're going to try to put him in prison. We're going to try to bankrupt him. We're going to try to destroy him and his entire family. And if that doesn't happen, if that doesn't work, we'll just try to put a bullet in his head. And we know that because, well, the Democrats tried and failed to put a bullet in his head. And then they tried and failed again. And they're still not stopping because just yesterday there was a sniper nest found across from where Air Force One, the president's private jet, was parked at the Palm Beach airport when he was visiting Mar-a-Lago. It's totally cool for Jay Jones to run. The voters will decide. But if Donald Trump wants to run, we've got to stop him. We can't have that at all. He's a king. He's a king.
I'm not a king. I work my ass off to make our country great. That's all it is. I'm not a king at all.
Yeah, I'm not a king at all. I just work my ass off. That's more so than I can say for any of you Democrats.
No king, no king, no king in America.
Yeah. Donald Trump working his ass off for you. It's true, though. And Donald Trump works his ass off. And not only that, but he does it not for himself. He does it for the United States of America and all of her citizens. And that's why we're starting to see this new golden age, which is just erupting everywhere, despite the government shutdown. And CNN released a poll. I'm going to share with you this CNN poll here in just a minute because it is not surprising to me, but it's got to be devastating to the Democrats. It's got to be devastating to the Democrats. But Donald Trump continues to work his ass off every single day, and he does it so that the economy can be better for all Americans, so that there can be jobs for all Americans, so we can be safer walking around the streets of Memphis or Chicago or San Francisco, which is his next target. He's targeting San Francisco for, I guess you would say, rejuvenation, for criminal revocation. That's going to be his next thing. But what he's been able to do, not just with, say, the stock market, not just with, say, the jobs, but with gold, has been incredible. Gold has reached an all-time high. Gold is always a safe haven investment. Whenever there's fluctuations in the stock market or cryptocurrency markets or the real estate market, gold has always been where people put their money. Smart investors put their money in gold. Donald Trump owns a lot of gold. And the reason is because it's a safe haven investment. It doesn't lose its value. And in fact, under President Donald Trump 2.0, gold has increased by 25%. 25%. And I know that because I was chatting with my friends from Augusta Precious Metals who are lining up people just like you for gold and precious metal based IRAs, which again are safer investments for you and your money and your financial future, especially whenever there's tumult in the stock market. Augusta Precious Metals, go to getmarksgold.com, getmarksgold.com. There's a link in the description of this video. They're good friends of mine. They're good people, and they know what to do with your money. They know how to keep it safe. If you have $50,000 or more in an IRA or in an investment account or a savings account or anywhere, go to getmarksgold.com and find out how Augusta Precious Metals can keep that money and that investment safe and grow it faster than any other safe haven investment that you may be currently looking at. Getmarksgold.com. There's also a link in the description of this video. All right, let's get to CNN, shall we? Because CNN, that guy, I always forget his name. He's Harry Enton is his name. Harry Enton. And Harry Enton has a new poll about President Donald Trump and the Schumer shutdown. And while the Democrats furiously try to blame the Republicans and President Donald Trump for the Schumer shutdown, or while the media, and the Democrats try to do that, the Americans know, they know what's up.
About Donald Trump shutdowns, net approval rating, we're talking 20 days into it. In 2018/2019, Donald Trump's net approval rating was already falling. The shutdown was eating into his popular support. It was down 3 points already at this particular point and would fall considerably more. It was very much on the decline. You come over to this side of the screen, this shutdown hasn't eaten into Donald Trump's support at all. His net approval rating is actually up a point in terms of his popular support. So the bottom line is this. The first shutdown during Trump's first term, 2018, 2019, was hurting Donald Trump. This one is not hurting him at all. There's no real reason Donald Trump might say, at least when it comes to popular support, I want to get out of this shutdown.
All right, so here it is, shutdown and Trump's net approval. The first Trump shutdown was back in 2018 and 2019. It was right after the holidays. They're down 3 points. President Donald Trump was down 3 points. 2025, net approval up 1 point since the shutdown. This shutdown has made President Donald Trump even more popular. But that's not all.
What about the question of blame?
Yeah, okay. What about the question of blame? Okay, you see Donald Trump's net approval rating was down 2018 to 2019. You talk about 2025 as net approval rating is up. It comes down to the blame game, a game I loved to play when I was younger. Blame Trump for the shutdown, a great deal. In 2018/2019, 61%, more than 3 in 5 Americans blame Trump a great deal for that particular shutdown. You come over to this side of the screen, look at this. It's a different world. It's a different world. 48% of Americans blame Trump a great deal for this particular shutdown. So it's more than 3 in 5 back in 2018/2019. It's less than half, a drop of 13 points. Again, it's no real wonder that Donald Trump at this point, looking at the shutdown, says, you know what, it's not actually harming me politically, in large part because he's getting less of the blame.
And he's doing...
Yeah, so President Donald Trump, we're 20 days into a shutdown. That's a long shut. That's a big, long shutdown. The Democrats are locked in. The Republicans are locked in. Donald Trump's like, hey, I'm just going to, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to shut down government programs that the Democrats love. I'm going to shut down Democrats programs that the Democrats love. I'm going to take away their money. I'm going to take away all of their grift that they've been having on the American people. I'm going to make their lives miserable. I'll be fine. Republicans will be fine. Eventually the government will open back up, but this is all on the Democrats. The Democrats are the ones trying to take control of the House of Representatives next year. And the longer they keep the government shut down, the worse it is for them. But Donald Trump's like, look, they're kamikazes. They're the ones destroying themselves.
The Democrats are kamikazes right now. They're kamikaze pilots right now. They have nothing going. They have no future. They have incompetent candidates. I mean, I looked at Crockett, Jasmine Crockett. She's a very low IQ person. She's polling okay in the Democrat Party. I can't even believe it. AOC I watched her the other day. It's like, you got to be kidding. This is not going to make our country great. And for us to have a communist mayor, it looks like we're going to in New York. He's not a socialist. He's a communist. And it'll be very interesting.
He's not that's Zohran Mamdani. There was another clip. Let me see the clip he had about Chuck Schumer. I think it was this one here where he talked about Chuck Schumer.
Do you think that the government shutdown is all about this rally that's happening this weekend, the No Kings rally?
No, I mean, some people say they want to delay it for that. A king. This is
more
not
than
a king. You know, they're referring to me as a king. I'm not a king.
Right. No, but just so that Chuck Schumer could go and say, I'm fighting Trump.
Yeah, well, Chuck is, at the end of the line. He's being beaten by everybody that they poll against him. And, what he did is he did the right thing a couple of years ago on something like this. And he got hurt by his party. And it doesn't, I don't think it matters to him. I think he's just so dead that he'll do anything. I think they could just stay out forever. I mean, to be honest with you. Now, what we're doing is we're cutting Democrat programs that we didn't want because, they made one mistake. They didn't realize that gives me the right to cut programs that Republicans never wanted. Giveaways, welfare programs, etc. And we're doing that, and we're cutting them permanently. We're cutting a $20 billion project that Schumer fought for 15 years to get. And I'm cutting the project. The project is going to be dead. It's pretty much dead right now.
So President Donald Trump is saying, look, they can keep it shut down as long as they want. Chuck Schumer's losing popularity. There's no way for him to win his election. He's polling negatively against anyone they throw up against him, whether it's AOC or anyone else. He's done. He's at the end of the line. And now he's losing his legacy. The $20 billion project that he fought for 15 years for got wiped off the map by President Donald Trump, and he's not done yet. Every single day that this shutdown continues, he can wipe out even more Democrat expenditures. He can wipe out more Democrat jobs. He can wipe out all kinds of stuff. And the Democrats are never going to be able to get it back, especially if they keep the government shut down. So Donald Trump's approval ratings are fine. CNN showed you. He's actually more popular since the government shut down than he was before the government shut down. And that is why this is such a problem it's such a problem for the Democrats. I mean, I'll be honest with you, I don't care because they're Democrats. But Donald Trump, he held something happened in the White House, by the way. He's been doing all these press conferences and there's two big topics. There's Ukraine, of course, because he met with Zelensky on Friday, and Vladimir Putin, he's supposedly meeting with Vladimir Putin again. But he was with Prime Minister Anthony Albanese from Australia. And he would look at this. He's at the White House and he's doing a press conference, and the Australian Prime Minister is there. And in true Trump fashion, there's just, it's never not entertaining. One of the, I guess, reporters or camera crew, somebody from one of the camera crew backed their camera into a 400-year-old mirror. And President Donald Trump, stopped everything.
Equipment anywhere in the world by far. And, you got to watch that. Watch that. You're not allowed to break that. That mirror is 400 years old. A camera just hit the mirror. I just moved it up here special from the vaults, and the first thing that happens, a camera hits it. Hard to believe, isn't it? Hard to believe. But these are the problems in life. Equipment anywhere in the world.
Donald Trump, these are the problems. These are the problems. Hashtag president problems. I go to the vault. I find a 400-year-old mirror. That's almost 200 years older than the country. And I go, the mirror's nice. I'm going to bring it up to the cabinet room. And then what happens? Some idiot fake news camera guy bumps into it. You're not allowed to break that. That mirror's older than you are. These are the problems. These are the problems I deal with. These are the problems I have as president. Yeah, there's war in Ukraine. Yeah, there's a government shutdown. And now I got this clown bumping into my 400-year-old mirror. I would love to be in a cabinet meeting just once. I just think it would be the most entertaining thing in the entire war, any meeting, really. He was also asked about all the things that we're talking about. There was another clip about the ambassador. They're signing a mineral deal. They're talking about China. There was one clip about the ambassador, I think, that I wanted to play with you. Oh, yeah, I have. Okay, you know what? I have it here. Sorry. The Australian ambassador, because there's the Prime Minister of Australia, and then there's an ambassador. And apparently there's an ambassador from Australia who just hates Donald Trump. I mean, I'm sure there's multiple. And this ambassador from Australia had been bad-mouthing Donald Trump, and the media asked Donald Trump about it. And fun fact, the guy they were asking him about was sitting there across the table from President Donald Trump when they asked him about it.
Even things the ambassador said about you in the past, the Australian ambassador?
I don't know anything about him. I mean, if he said bad, then maybe he'll like to apologize. I really don't know. Did an ambassador say something bad about him? Don't tell me. I don't. Where is he? Is he still working for you?
Yeah.
You said bad?
Before I took this position, Mr. President.
I don't like you either. I don't, and I probably never will. Go ahead.
That's it. That's the end of that one. You said, oh yeah, you said bad things about me. Well, before I took this job, yeah, I don't like you either. Never will. Never will. You're dead to me. And that's at the cabinet. That's at the meeting there with the Prime Minister of Australia and his entire cabinet. So then they started getting into, the war in Ukraine, the one final war that President Donald Trump needs to end.
Just a few weeks ago at UNGA, you said that Ukraine could possibly win the war and
well, they could.
Territory, but now
they could still win it. I don't think they will, but they could still win it. I never said they would win it. I said they could win. Anything can happen. War is a very strange thing. A lot of bad things happen, a lot of good things happen. If you look at the Middle East, I would say prior to us hitting Iran so hard, we could have never made that deal because you would have had a dark cloud over the Middle East when we took out their nuclear capability, which was one of the great military maneuvers of all time. It was flawless. You saw that. Yeah. Those magnificent B-2s. I mean, that was a flawless move that was done by some very talented people, headed up by Pete and everybody else, and our great generals, and General in particular, Raisin Kane. We did a great job, and when that happened, everything was different, and we were able to get a deal.
Yeah. So President Donald Trump saying, "Look, I said," because it's interesting. Yeah, I said that Ukraine could win. I didn't say they're going to win. I said they could. Anything could happen in war. There was another one. There was another clip with this reporter who Donald Trump, his favorite hobby is admonishing reporters when they ask dumb questions, and I thought I pulled it. Maybe I didn't. Maybe I did. Maybe I was too into the mirror at the time. But President Donald Trump is, he's doing everything that he can do. He's doing everything he needs to do to keep America safe. Oh, wait, I just stumbled on this nugget of gold. This is Cory Booker. And is that Adam Schiff? This is gold. I guess this is in DC. Adam Schiff and Cory Booker. Matt Gaetz just reposted this an hour ago and says, this is what losing a presidential election looks like.
This is what democracy 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 looks like.
Yeah. And again, a very lackadaisical response from the crowd. Wow, they can't even chant. Adam Schiff can't even chant on beat.
This is what democracy looks like.
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 They looked so uncomfortable. Adam Schiff looked so uncomfortable to be there. Also, he's wearing like a full sweater, quarter zip, and Cory Booker's wearing like a t-shirt. So I'm not really sure. What's going on. I'm not really sure what's going on there. But look, I mean, we need a change of leadership. That's what it all boils down to. We need a change of leadership from the top down. We need people who are serious about making America great again, who are serious about giving the president the tools he needs, who are serious about protecting everybody's rights, not just the rights of Democrats, and who are serious about weeding out the deep state and the threats to Republicans and conservatives and Christians and everybody else who's constantly getting attacked. And that is something that, like President Donald Trump, for example, I said he's going to go to San Francisco. And he's going to San Francisco because San Francisco at one time was an amazing city. It was where all of our technology comes from. It was where, Rice-A-Roni comes from. San Francisco was a great place. Now, it's really kind of, it's just kind of disgusting. There's poop maps, so you don't step in poop when you're walking around San Francisco. And he told Maria Bartiromo that's next on our list.
But the governor, who got thrown out of his business by his family because he's a dope, but the governor, Pritzker, he doesn't want us in. If I were him, if I were a Democrat and I were him, I'd say, come on in. What do you have to lose?
And you're going to go to San Francisco next.
We're going to go to San Francisco. The difference is I think they want us in San Francisco. San Francisco was truly one of the great cities of the world. And then 15 years ago, it went wrong. It went woke. Remember my statement? Anything woke is, and then I used a filthy, broke is another word. I used a filthy word, but I didn't. No. I took enough heat on that. I won't say it again, but it's true. I mean, nothing changes, right? But we're going to go to San Francisco, and we're going to make it great. We're going to make it great. It'll be great. Again, San Francisco is a great city. It won't be great if it keeps going like this.
Yeah. So, and what he said was everything woke turns to, to poop. But he said, look, we're going to San Francisco. Our cities that are Democrat run exclusively just about are unsafe cities. They're a disaster, and I'm going to save the cities. And then he talked again about the Insurrection Act. But he said, we're going to do what we need to do. And we're going to do what we need to do to make America safe again. And every one of these major cities that's run by Democrats and has been run by Democrats over the last 10 years, every one of these cities that goes woke, they turn right to what. Oh, which, by the way, reminds me, President Donald Trump posted a meme over the weekend of him in like an F-18 or F-15 dropping poop on Harry Sisson. And Speaker Mike Johnson, I'm not going to play you the meme because I think some people find it offensive. I mean, I don't care, but it's also, but I am going to play you Mike Johnson's response to the meme because that's quite entertaining.
That the President of the United States over the weekend released a video of him pooping on the American people.
The president uses social media to make the point. You can argue he's probably the most effective person who's ever used social media for that. He is using satire to make a point. He is not calling for the murder of his political opponents, and that's what these people are doing. I mean, they're in one of these photos. I think there's a picture of the president hanging in effigy by a noose on one of these. The one on the far end. I mean, it's unconscionable. Look, America is built on the idea of free speech. You have the right to protest. Of course, we jealously guard that. I mean, Chip and I are attorneys. We've defended that right in the courts. But what they're doing right now is different. They are trying to incite violence. It's not funny. You don't mock a president who has already had 2 failed assassination attempts on his life. This is not a game. And the idea that communists would be supporting this is unconscionable to us.
It's unconscionable to everybody. Hold on, basically. So basically what he's saying is, look, the president posting a poop meme of him dropping, and it wasn't Donald Trump pooping. That's fake news. Donald Trump, listen to what this guy says again.
That the president of the United States over the weekend released a video of him pooping on the American people.
That's not at all what happened. He was dropping massive amounts of poop on the American. He was in a fighter jet, and instead of bombs, the bomb, the doors open up and the cargo bay doors open up and large vats of poop fell from the sky. But it wasn't Donald Trump wasn't pooping on the American people. He was dropping someone else's poop on, and it wasn't the American people, it was Harry Sisson. And Harry Sisson is, he's about as far from American and as far from a person as you'll ever find on the internet. But Mike Johnson, he has the best response. He goes, look, Donald Trump uses satire and social media probably better than anyone. Probably better. Donald Trump's using satire, and he's not threatening to kill people. He's not. We have people here who are openly threatening to kill Stephen Miller, openly threatening to murder President Donald Trump. They're hanging an effigy of Donald Trump by a noose around his neck. Donald Trump's just dropping artificial intelligence, enhanced or created poop on people. That's all he's doing. That's satirical. What this is doing, what these people are doing is maniacal. And it is dangerous. Poop is harmless. It's, for the most part. Do you think that Mike Johnson, when he was hearing his name finally, when they went around and they was like, they had, for the 5th or 6th time, they were voting on who's going to be the Speaker of the House. Do you think when Mike Johnson heard the 220 times his name was called in order to give him the speakership, do you think he ever imagined the moment when he would be at a press conference talking about a government shutdown, discussing how to reopen the government so our military could get paid, so our brave fighting men and women could put food in their children's mouths, so that our civil servants could get the money that they've earned because they worked for it, most of them? Do you think that when he was sitting there trying to talk about how to reopen the government, how to get just five Democrat votes to come over so that America could get back to work, do you think he ever thought he'd be taking a question from a reporter about poop that President Donald Trump dropped on Harry Sisson? I will say this, he handled it very well. Very, very well. And I, for one, again, I'm not a huge fan, but I am more and more impressed by the day with Michael Johnson and some of the things that are thrown at him and the way that he responds to them. Speaking of responding, there was an article I got, like, every time there's an article about my political race for Congress here in Florida's 5th District. Every time there's an article that comes out that mentions me, not only do I get a Google alert, because I said, a responsible person in the public eye knows what the media is saying about them. We need to keep track of the fake news lies. So not only does that happen, not only do I get an alert from Google, but like 19 people send me the same article, and people tag me on X and everything. There was an article that came out from Florida Politics because the reporting deadline came up again. And let me share this with you. This is Florida Politics. John Rutherford maintains massive fundraising lead in CD5. It's still early, but it may be getting late for challengers. The view remains the same in Northeast Florida's 5th congressional district. As of the end of September, four-term incumbent John Rutherford continues to dominate with donors. The former Jacksonville sheriff has $337,169 on hand, putting him well ahead of his only primary challenger to report financial activity, podcaster Mark Kay. Kay has $5,106 on hand at last report. While 4 Democrats have opened campaign accounts, 3 of them have reported no fundraising at all. This is what's interesting to me about this race, is that there's 4 Democrats in this race. I don't know what they're all planning to do. The challenger said earlier, that's me, by the way. The challenger said earlier this year that donations are pouring in from across the country and that he expects to lean heavily on grassroots energy, digital outreach, and the loyal support of thousands of his listeners called Patriots across Florida and beyond. Thus far, those supporters are pacing themselves. The incumbent has faced primaries consistently in 2022 and 2024 against Maura Macy. So this article, by the way, I wish were fake news, but it's not. But however, when you're a 4-time incumbent who's been in politics pretty much all your life and, has used the power of the Appropriations Committee to make yourself financially rich beyond belief, you're going to have a fundraising advantage. And as I've said before, we never expected to out-fundraise John Rutherford. We will, however, outdo him on the street. We will outdo him with grassroots efforts. We will outdo him with digital outreach. We will outdo him in every way, shape, or form possible. But we do also need to raise money. We're not going to raise what he's going to raise. He's got so many cronies. He's been paid off and bought and paid for by so many different people. He's got PAC money galore. He's got APAC money. He's got all kinds of stuff. I never said my goal was to beat John Rutherford at the bank. It's to beat him at the ballot box. But every little bit helps. So if you have not yet donated, before we get into, the hustle and bustle of the holiday season, it would be a great time to help us narrow that gap, because we're going to have to report again in January. And at the January deadline, it would be great for us to have. Now, I will say this: we've raised about $12,500 total. And then, of course, we've had expenditures, but it's a constant battle. So if you have not yet donated to Mark K for Congress, please go to markkforcongress.com and donate whatever you can. Every little bit helps. Like, I'm literally telling you, every little bit helps. $150, $25. I mean, if you're sitting around and you're one of those multimillionaires that nobody knows about, you're like a secret millionaire, and you've got $3,500 extra dollars, help a brother out, because we're just trying to save the republic over here. That's all I'm trying to do. You can read all about the campaign. We do have some meetings. We have some events coming up this Thursday at Pusser's Bar and Grill in Ponte Vedra Beach. Now, if you want to come out and get a yard sign, we're going to have some free yard signs there. We're also going to have an opportunity for we'll have an opportunity for you as well to meet with me, and we'll take some photos. There'll be stickers. There'll be all kinds of great stuff. But Pusser's Bar and Grill is at Ponte Vedra Beach, Florida. These hats will be for sale as well. You can come and get some swag. And then November 6th, we're going to be at Megyn Kelly Live at the Moran Theater, which is also kind of cool. So big stuff coming up. If you can do anything you can do to help the cause, would be very, 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 helpful. Duh. because again, I wish it were fake news, but it's not. We're behind in the fundraising. We are ahead, however, in digital outreach. I will say that I went to Facebook the other day and I Googled Congressman John Rutherford, and the first thing that came up was one of his posts. And then the next 20 were all my posts. So we're definitely, he doesn't get it. He doesn't get it. Anyway, listen, thank you so much for joining me today. If you can't make a donation online, we definitely appreciate that and we understand. But what you can do is you can help by spreading the word. If you share this podcast with a like-minded Catriot, that would help. If you subscribe to this podcast, that also helps. If you can help us, just by listening every single day or watching every single day, if you're on iTunes or if you're listening on Spotify, take the share link and just share it with a couple people that maybe don't know about this show but would really enjoy it, or people who you think could probably use a good dose of conservatism. Any and all people who watch this show help us. Any and all way we can help grow our movement helps the movement. So yeah, we would love it if you could stroke a check or send us a donation online. But if you can't, just keep sharing. Just keep watching. And again, there's something in it for you too, because every day when you share and you watch and you join it, every single day when you're here for Mark K Saves the Republic, every single day when you log on and you become part of our community, you learn something, hopefully. You get information that you didn't have, hopefully. You get entertainment and enlightenment and inspiration, and you become part of this community of Catriots. And every single day, we are going to continue to help each other, to promote each other, to protect each other, and fight together so we can save the Republic. We are going to have a Catriot Club meeting, which means bada bing, bada boom, extended edition of Mark K Saves the Republic. So if you'd like to hang out, if you want to hear a couple more stories, if you want to hear some of the insider scoop that we don't share on the main broadcast, go to Catriots.com. We will begin our Catriot Club meeting in just about 5 or 6 minutes. The Catriot Club is $10 a month, or if you purchase an entire year up front, you get 2 months free. I'll let you do the math. Catriots.com. We're going to be there in 5 minutes.